Hi, my name is Ken today, and I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm here to read the Daily Reflections book for October 9th, 2025. It's called A Spiritual Axiom. And an axiom is something that's just taken for granted that it's true, or it's just true. I'll give you that whole definition. A statement or proposition which is regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true. So, October 9, 2025, a spiritual axiom. It is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with us. That's from the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book, page 90. I never truly understood the 10th step spiritual axiom until I had the following experience. I was sitting in my bedroom, reading into the wee hours, when suddenly I heard my dogs barking in the backyard. My neighbors frown on this kind of disturbance, so with mixed feelings of anger and shame, as well as fear of my neighbor's disapproval, I immediately called in my dogs. Several weeks later, the exact situation repeated itself, but this time, because I was feeling more at peace with myself, I was able to accept the situation. Dogs will bark. And I calmly called in the dogs. Both incidents taught me that when a person experiences nearly identical events and reacts two different ways, then it is not the event which is of prime importance, but the person's spiritual condition. Feelings come from inside, not from outward circumstances. When my spiritual condition is positive, I react positively. Period. The end of the reading. I was reading a book by Wayne Dyer years ago, and I occasionally pick it up now and again, but I think it's called, this particular book by Wayne Dyer is called There's a Spiritual Situation to Every Problem. And this last line in the reading today, when my spiritual condition is positive, I react positively. So in this book by Wayne Dyer, he was saying that the relationship to the source or to God or whatever your power greater than yourself is, if that connection is good, then this connection, like we have this video thing going on right now, this connection will be good. If you want to say the horizontal. So the vertical between me and God, in my case, as I understand him, and you. If this relationship is good, this relationship will be good. So, something else here. These two different, the same situation, two different reactions. I have a lot of experience with this in my own life. You might find something very similar. I find myself going to, let's see, how should I put this? About every 2 months, I have an appointment at the same location. And I usually take almost identically the same route to get there. Okay, so the reason that I take this particular route it's because for many, many years I've been going to the same location. And I've tried the freeways, I've tried the surface streets, I've tried going way out of my way to come around from a different direction. I've tried a lot of different things. And the route that I'm currently taking seems most suitable to me. Okay. Now, some days it's absolutely brilliantly peaceful, calm, no traffic, and just wonderful. Other days, it seems that there's people wanting to pass me a lot. I'm getting to be an old guy. I don't like driving fast anymore. So, that's maybe, that has a part in it. Now, same situation, the same route, more or less the same amounts of traffic. That varies, but not really considerably. If I go early in the morning, say, it might be more crowded in one direction, and whatever. I've got it kind of figured out. My point is that I still get completely bent out of shape upstairs with this route, and I start blaming the other drivers on the road. What's this say in this story today? I was feeling more at peace with myself. I was able to accept the situation, which is dogs will bark. And I calmly called in the dogs. Whereas the last time this happened to this person about the dogs barking, he's sitting around, or this person's sitting around reading. Maybe trying to fall asleep. It's getting very late. And then his dog starts barking. And then he says, I'm just going to use the proverbial he. And then he says, I heard my dogs barking in the backyard. My friends frown on this kind of disturbance. So, with mixed feelings of anger and shame as well as fear. So I was likening this to my experience on the roadways of America. That same route, same volume of traffic, more or less, and it's me. I'm the guy that's changing and wondering if it's going to be like this the entire route or whatever, or is it going to be different? This guy in this story hears this disturbance and reacts with anger, shame, and fear for whatever reasons. And he immediately called in the dogs to stop at least that ruckus. And then weeks go by, and he says, because I was feeling more at peace with myself, I was able to accept the situation. See, there's that word again, accept. Acceptance. I'd like to explore that more, maybe not today, but the dogs will bark. The dogs really, dogs will bark. Some things get them more excited, other things don't bother them so much. But, they're not going to, there's a cartoon, Martha Speaks, and there's one episode where Martha sings. It's hilarious. It's a children's program. I was watching it maybe 4 years ago. And this dog is singing instead of talking. Human English. So that's odd enough, It's like Family Guy with the dog. He drinks, he smokes, he's a hippie, he's a Democrat, a liberal, he drives an electric car. The dog in Family Guy. Anyways, Martha Speaks. Martha sings. Okay, this guy here in today's reading. Dogs will bark. Yeah, the dogs will bark. That's what they do. They don't sing. They don't smoke. They don't drink. They don't drive cars. They don't speak human English. None that I've met, So that's just like, that's a given. That's going to happen. Dogs are going to bark. Now it's up to me how I react to that situation. Much like I was trying to say My reaction to different traffic conditions changes with me on the inside, up here. Much like this last line here, or the couple last lines, feelings come from inside, not from outward circumstances. When my spiritual condition is positive, I react positively. When this relationship between me and my higher power are good, all of these other relationships with the outside world should be good also. That's maybe the long and the short of it. That took me 10 minutes. A spiritual axiom, it's just that word bugs me because it's not my vernacular. I don't use it in my vocabulary frequently. It's not the first word I'm reaching for when I say axiom, a statement or proposition which is regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true. I like the word given. That's just a given, or we take it for granted it's true. We've got, in mathematics, a statement or proposition on which an abstractly defined structure is based. I like math. Not because I'm good at it, it's clear in a way that, well, human emotions are not very clear to me. That's I've been finding over the years lots of different things. Human emotions, to maybe better understand my emotions. This is kind of like NASA, how they do stuff in a way that people wonder, and they complain, how come NASA's spending all this money on looking at some other planet or something like this? Way out there, why aren't they, or wouldn't that money be better off spent here on Earth at some other endeavor? And in one way, I think, I choose to believe this, that NASA's doing something that by looking at other systems, it might be likened to our system, this Earth, in our solar system. That when they're exploring and looking at different things, they find similarities, commonalities, and then you can make these guesses and leaps and hypotheses about stuff. Same thing, human beings. We got human beings now. Whatever brand of sapien we are, is it just plain old Homo sapien? We used to have, I don't know how many different, and depending where you get your numbers from, there might have been different breeds, species of humans, just slightly different. Another way of explaining something like that is that if you just spun a globe, stuck your finger down anywhere, and then went physically to that location, those people there, even though they're Homo sapiens, are going to be heavily influenced by their culture and each other and various other factors. And they're not going to be like your typical brand of Homo sapiens. So, at least in the United States, I see this. It's kind of changing a bit, but between North and South, say North Dakota, way up North Dakota, Minnesota, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, all along the Canadian borders, Montana, Idaho, Washington State, Maryland, Maine, versus, say, the southern states of down way South California, New Mexico, Nevada, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, if you were to visit Rapid City, South Dakota, okay, Bismarck, North Dakota, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, somewhere up there north, and then you just drive south, go down to Amarillo, Texas, go to Dallas-Fort Worth area, Texas. There's a fairly wide difference between the people. However, they're still humans. They're not dogs. Martha speaks, Martha sings. No, Martha barks. Martha's a dog. Dogs will bark. Humans will be human. And this is, I'm trying to get somewhere with this, is that with all this, we're on step 10 here for the AA program today, which says continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. What's wrong? What's right? What against who? Measured against which standard? Being wrong. Doesn't say. For me, that gauge is if I'm losing sleep and I'm up and thinking about stuff and it won't go away, it won't leave me alone, that's something that I need to fix, basically. And so that can be like this continued inventory. I look at how I've encountered other people during the day. Now remember this one, if my spiritual relationship this way is good, then these relationships are going to be good, or should be. And that can change just as quick as I can blink my eyes, I think. It's always a choice, because what's it say? Feelings come from inside, not outward circumstances. Now, this brings me back to the human thing, that human beings have a limited amount of emotions, let's say. It might be kind of lengthy, but they're all kind of, I bet it's really simple, like 5-6 emotions, but there's kind of various shades of each one. Okay, so you got that. And then you've got males and you got females, and they typically react differently, but a lot of females react in a female type characteristic, whereas males react in typically a male characteristic. Still kind of a difference where, okay, but not all that wide. Not that many. It's not that complex yet. Humans are unpredictable, though. And I got a caveat, or an exception to that. When a lot of humans are confused in some choice of any kind, in my case, I get angry, I think. I'm fine, I'm okay. I need to make a choice. I have an extraordinarily difficult time making the choice, and anger creeps in. Now I'm angry. And then it's like, well, then just take the box on the left. Take the door on the right, whatever it is. And in a huff, angry, still. And then I carry that into the next room or box or wherever I'm going or whatever. So, but it's like it could have, I might react joyfully. I have a decision to make. Maybe they could all be so positive that I'm just full of joy and happiness, and a calm, nice feeling of, I don't know, gratitude comes about me. And I'm like, yeah, I get to choose something. That's two ways. It's two. This continued to take a daily inventory. Now again, back to this thing, I take the same route and react differently. This person, they got this dog, he reacts differently to the dog barking. What's the answer? Right back up to the top, that this came from the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, a spiritual axiom. It is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, dogs, route, choices, there is something wrong with us. So, because dogs will bark, Martha will bark. And Martha, she'll sing too, but that's a weird dog. That's not a real dog. That's a cartoon dog. So, human beings being unpredictable. That's why I wanted to unpackage this just a little bit more. Because this is a problem I get into because I'm lazy. If I'm going to be dealing with a female, I have already got a package of, I think I know how a female is going to react to this situation. If I'm going to be reacting with a male or acting with it or whatever, talking, communicating with a male, I pretty much have an idea of a set amount of reactions, but they're unpredictable. However, they're not that unpredictable that I have no idea. Well, kind of, but it's within a spectrum or a range of limited reactions. It's even seriously mentally disturbed individuals they've got a finite amount of people they can be, let's say personalities of character traits, whatever. I'm gonna run out of time. I'm just saying, what am I saying? No matter all this outside stuff, man, we can accept it peacefully, calmly at that value, and then determine how we choose to react to it. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you for coming by here today. Goodbye.